Welcome back. We are in the demo zone of the small game show this week. I have a well-tuned fish-based platformer, a clicker FTL-like, and something that is in the Balatro zone for you, and each is well polished and fun, so you want to stay around for these. Now, for our first game. In Fish, you play as a fish, with a gun. Now, this over-the-top run-and-gun platformer actually plays really well. It has this throw everything at the wall, nothing is too weird art style. I did find it a little off-putting at first, but in the 15 minutes I played, it won me over. Everything in the world is built out of collage, taking bits of cut-out art to create a world that is incredibly surreal. It's like someone went into a corner shop, raided their Fish and Guns magazine, and then took these components to create something that, by nature, has to do away with consistency. I'm yet to see how seeing watermelons with teeth will affect my dreams, although I am sure it's gonna. But it is with the little animation touches that the game makes itself cohesive. The little legs on your fish you play as are just cute and fun. The way the cutout bullets fly from your pistol. It all works, somehow. The whole game puts me in mind of how weird early platformers used to be. The way Mario, pre-Super Mario Bros, was just an odd job man in games like Wrecking Crew. Fish is the same sentiment, but with a modern twist. It is something I absolutely love with these small games. The way they manage to be incredibly punk in ethos and mechanics, using familiar form factors like a platformer, but doing away with anything else familiar, anything to ground the player in reality. Instead, you just have to meet it on its level, and flamethrower some guys as a fish. And with that, do away with any semblance of normality. The play of the game is much tighter than it would seem as well. The action manages to be good and fun. The game adopts a large roster of weapons in the demo, but has a modern shooter, 2 weapons equipped at a time style. This means you can have a wide range of options in the fight, but you want to enter it with the most effective already equipped. It only works because the checkpoint system is so forgiving, creating this tight iteration loop of you trying different solutions to the problems. If there was a huge run back to a boss, this would be much worse, but instead it puts you back in, at full health and ready to try something new. My only criticism is that the art style does mean, at moments, the readability of situations is a little difficult. I found myself dodging bullets and going straight into a hazard as I couldn't exactly pinpoint the player fish in some hectic moments. But I also think to make it more readable would mean that you would have to do away with some of that style that I have already praised. Fish is a ridiculous game. This is well worth a play. Void Salvage is a very cleverly hidden clicker. I have this trajectory with clickers where they hold my attention for about an hour, and then the limited mechanics mean that I sort of just fall away. Just numbers going up is not enough. That being said, Void Salvage manages to do away with that, and I am not playing more just out of productivity worries more than boredom. You play as a small ship that flies from node to node to get salvage. There is a bit of flavor text with you starting by barely repairing a ship and just getting it running, and then there are a few different options of where to fly next, very reminiscent of Faster Than Light. Each of these options has some info about what type of upgrade you can expect, and each will be defended, so you will have to fight. The game has a very cohesive and expressive pixel art and music that show a desolate sci-fi world. It has light writing, but what is here is well done for the minimal words used. The space dogfights between the different ships is fun to watch, especially when new weapons are being used. The battles themselves are automatic, but Void Salvage keeps interactivity up by giving you salvage nodes to click on whilst you watch the pretty fight in the background. The game does have player interactivity though, and where it comes in is in what upgrades you pick to fortify your ship. A node will say what you can expect, whether it is a new weapon, a shop, or a drone upgrade. You will quickly fill out the slots that the ship has available too, so the tactical element comes from combining these in different configurations in the space that you have available on the ship. They are fun and varied with interesting interactions with each other. For instance, my best run had me with a homing attack, a temperamental plasma gun bolstered with a chain lightning and an exploding effect. It is much more restrained than something like a Binding of Isaac, but I got a similar feeling combining things into a killing machine. As you play, you are managing 3 primary things: your fuel, shields, and hull. Fuel is fairly self-explanatory, it goes down as you travel distance, it's mostly a non-issue though. When choosing which area I wanted to go to next, it would have been nice to see if I could make it on what was left in the tank. I say it's a non-issue because the only cost of running out of fuel is to do a little battle, so on a good run I mostly ended up just ignoring it, just doing the battles because they cost me nothing. Your shield represents the amount of damage you can take before you start taking hull damage, which is your main health bar. My best run had a module that would siphon shields from enemies when I damaged them, and it made my ship very sturdy. At the beginning of each run you can spend your meta progression currency in an extensive tech tree for permanent upgrades, as you lose everything else on death. If you choose to upgrade something, it will increase the cost of the next upgrade, so getting the increased shield capacity will be cheap for the first purchase, but get into level 5 of it and it starts to become expensive. Although a lot of the tree is incremental, there are some additions to your verb set here, like a distress beacon that gives you more options if you run out of fuel, or the ability to get more information about points of interest. I had a moment of wanting every upgrade possible in front of me, because having such a plethora of options gives you things to aim for. I'm always a fan of this roguelike loop of progression on death. It takes the sting away from it, and I find myself very quickly wanting to get into a fresh run to use those levels that I've just bought. After a certain amount of exploring in an area, represented by a progress bar at the bottom, you have to fight a boss. This is a test for your build, and it certainly feels like it has a failure built into it, especially the first couple of times you fight it. Some roguelites gate stuff by knowledge, meaning that an experienced player could take down the boss with the knowledge and skill that they have. That might certainly apply here, but with it being an auto-battler, it feels like there are a couple of failed runs built into the game, it requiring the level ups that you get on death to progress. Either that or a lucky run. I'm not fully sure of the reason that you have to spend time in one area to then jump out at the end. It doesn't progress linearly like Faster Than Life. It does create a fun loop though, and this game will live and die on its loop, and in my short time with it, the loop was good. It just depends on how quickly you end up repeating the cycle without any substantial new content. I think about how, after 90 hours into Hades 2, I still get a new combination of weapons or powers that both teaches me something about the game, as well as giving me a fun run. Of course, this being a small game, I would not expect something so extensive, but if it allows me to microdose this feeling and successfully encapsulates it, then it is doing something right. Our last game, Solitaire Battle, is trying to enter the Balatro zone. Instead of taking poker-ish rules, it is taking Solitaire. Now, I'm quite partial to a game of Solitaire, so I was interested to see how it would morph this rule set. Balatro takes the poker hand, something that most people will have some familiarity with, and uses these to build score, each hand being worth a different quantity of points. Quickly, you will not be able to get to the score required without some joker cards to affect your deck. Even though it looks like poker, you will quickly realise it's more taking the idea of poker hands, and then creating a completely different game around it. Solitaire Battle takes Solitaire in a similar way and uses it for its own ends. With Solitaire Battle, you are doing a Final Fantasy style turn-based battle, but your moves are powered by doing a Solitaire-ish style game. You are given a card and you need to find either a higher or a lower card from the playfield. You have a limited number of draws from the deck to change the core card you are working with, and you power up your attacks and items by connecting these cards. There is some planning required, as you might have a lot of numbers that are close together, meaning you want to create a string out of these, grabbing a 6, then a 5, then a 6, and then a 7, instead of just doing 6 and 7. Each item and attack require a certain amount of linked numbers from yourself to power up, and will activate once certain conditions are then met. The game takes place across different solitaire fields too. At first I didn't really notice them, but they are important to consider as you play. You always want to be handing over the turn to your opponent at strategic moments, where there is not much playfield and therefore opportunity available for them. The fields have these moments built in where you'll be opening up more cards with certain plays, so you want to try and land this on your turn. You are picking your cards to line yourself up for big combos and limiting the space of play for your opponent. I frequently got it wrong, especially when you clear the board and it is reshuffled and relayed out for you. You want that turn, and I didn't always get it. There is some randomness here, as it could be down to a couple of cards, and it really becomes a luck on the draw who will actually get to clean out the field to combo through these last remaining cards. It would be a cool space to get an item or an ability to affect this. I think the most esoteric system in the game is Heat. It doesn't really cleanly map onto the Final Fantasy style battle system, or Solitaire, but I understand why it is here. Whilst you are cleaning up the Solitaire board, gaining draws and doing your attacks, you are also building Heat. Heat slows down your ability to generate draws, and I believe also your attacks. I just found it hard to internalise when I should be passing to remove Heat and when I should be going full Solitaire mode. This is something that might come with time, and it could be down to my reading of the game, but I did find that it was not something that was well communicated to me. It does serve as this limiting factor though. You do not want to be cleaning up the board all of the time. This means choosing when you pass it to your opponent. You want there to be less potential on the board for them, so that you can both clear Heat and be safe at the same time. This proves to be an interesting strategic question. As you clear encounters, you get a shop. Here you can buy new pieces of equipment. Some equipment takes up an inventory slot, which you can spend money to increase, and some is just an upgrade. For instance, one upgrade will let you pick a card from 2 away, or find out if your drawer has any links on the board, meaning you do not waste it. The third most common item I saw would affect your Heat in some way, letting you do longer combos. I did find it hard to determine what is game changing here and what is just incremental. That being said, buying the same item multiple times does give you an upgraded version, which is nice. The item pool seems deep, so I am hoping that there will be a decent amount of replayability that comes with trying different strategies, although it would take some more play from me to find that out. At the end of each chapter are bosses. These mostly seem to have their health pools increased, and towards the end of the game do take some taking down. I played on both difficulties available in the demo, and the Queen difficulty required some strategy. I would be interested to see what harder versions would include, and if it creates more strategy, or is it just increased health and becomes about attrition. Even if it is attrition, this will become a consideration, something you need to plan for. In the demo, I tried the 2 characters that were available, the Thief and the Monk. They each had unique items in the shop, which is where most of their differences seem to come from. There were further unlockable characters that were only available in the full game, so as long as they have decent mechanical differences, this game has quite a bit of scope for replayability. In the full game, I wonder what this weird esoteric design space will offer. There's some readability issues as not much maps onto other games or systems, but there also seems to be a decent amount of depth. There are unique rules to strategize around, and what seems like an expansive play space. It's not the sort of roguelike to give you a win button. There is no mum's knife from Isaac, but it does give you scope for interesting choices. So, something I have come to notice that there are a lot of demos on itch. Each game today has been a demo, a proof of concept for something bigger. Itch is a testing ground of small ideas, of small games, and the people that want to progress them into something bigger. When I find a game with something cool in it, and I do play games that I end up not covering on the channel, I want to shout it out, whether it is going to become a full product, or if it's just a small self-contained thing. I also must say that these short evaluations are not meant to be a full review, it's just a survey of what's available in this space. So these final products, when they do come out, this is just an idea of what they could be. I will always look what's presented to me. I am here for the artistry present, and that can be found in these demos. That will be all, folks. If you would like to support me, then a comment will go a long way, as well as the usual liking and subscribing. For more from the exciting world of small games, then please tune in next time. My name has been Billy. Peace.